Hello everybody, Chris here, and in this video I want to show you a very easy way you can use GIMP in order to create a motivational quote background or just an image that you can share around on your social media platforms. So the first step I would say for doing this is going to probably be to go over to pixabay.com, because here you can find plenty of very high quality images that are actually completely free, even for commercial uses in a lot of cases, which is one of the reasons I'll use the site so much. And you can just find one of these images that seems like it would be good for motivational quote, something like a long road going off into the sunset or a pasture field with a lot of nice colors in the sky. So when you find an image you like, of which there are going to be many here, and the ones that are on the front page, by the way, are some of the ones that are voted up the highest, so you're going to get a lot of high quality ones over here. You just click in, you download the image, and then we bring that into GIMP. So here I downloaded this desert image, and I'm going to drag that into a GIMP image. So this document I set at 1280 by 720p resolution, which is basically 720p resolution. You can make it larger than that if you want. And we're going to want to add some text to this, obviously, because this is talking about a motivational quote. So what I would say is start by setting your font color to either white or black. Those are usually the starting places you want if you want it to look good. And I don't know if we actually have to create a new layer there, but I'll do that anyway. Go over to the text tool over here, and you're going to want to choose a font you like. If none of the default fonts on Windows interest you, you can go online to sites like .font and grab one that you like. I'm very fond of this font, Chunk 5X. I've been using it for a lot of my thumbnails, so I'm going to stick with that. Change the font size over here. 200 pixels is probably a little too big for this, but whatever size you think is good. And make sure that the color is the one you want it over here. You may also want to center the text in the box, but it may not be necessary also. So from there, just choose a spot inside of your document, and we're going to want to post a quote in. So here we can grab someone, one off of quotes.net, or basically any that you've thought of or that you actually want to put in. So here, just a random quote from the movie Dune, which apparently is ancient now. The spice extends life, the spice expands consciousness. No idea what that means, but hey, motivational enough, right? So we can see here, after I copy and paste that in, it's still a little big, so I'm going to select all the text here, and we're going to shrink it probably down to 100. So let's make it 2 lines here, and center it. That's probably still too big. So I'm going to make that centered over here on the left, and drop it down to 75, maybe even 70 to make sure it fits. And under image, we can add in new guides. So I'm going to go to guides, new percent, and add a vertical guide to make sure that this text gets centered. And that's a start there. But we're also going to need to add in what this quote's from. So in this case, it's the movie Dune, 1984. You can copy that text. And let's increase the font size for this next box, and I'll put it over here, copy and paste that in. It looks like, this font actually doesn't support the square brackets. So instead I'll replace that with a couple hyphens, put that over here, and now we have a problem, which is that the background image is basically too vibrant in colors, so certain parts of our text don't stand out so well. It looks fine over here when it has a blue background, but when it's kind of cloudy white red, that's not going to cut it. So a couple ways we can get around this. One would be to create a background square. So if we added a layer here and then drew a box, filled it in, that would be one, and of course we can lower the opacity just so that it's dark enough so that we can actually read the quote. But I think the way most people are going to want to do this is to right-click in Alpha to Selection, and then we're going to go up to Filters, Shadow, Drop Shadow, and Blur Radius High, and Opacity, I like 80–90% in opacity, and this is going to give drop shadow to the text. So just by doing that, you can see the text is immediately a lot more readable. And we will repeat the drop shadow on this text as well. And we may want to play around with this a little bit more to get it to be maybe a little bit more standout, but I think this will actually do pretty decent. So took just a few minutes, and we've created a motivational background, and we could export this and then save it as our background on our desktop. Let's actually go ahead and do that for fun. So desktop, background, I'll save it as a JPEG since there's no need for transparency. Minimize everything, right click, and set as desktop background. So bam, the text may be a little bit big here, and maybe we would have wanted to make it with resolution 1920 by 1080, but that's not too bad for a few minutes of work. So I've been Chris, thanks for watching this video on how to create a motivational post background, and I will see you guys in my future video content.